Hi everyone, welcome to the last video of the year. I decided today, 27th of December, it was the perfect moment to suffer and do a battle between my top 8 favorite books of the year. I don't know why I do this to myself. For those who are new, my name is Laura and I've read 182 books so far this year, which are a lot. In what moment did I read so many books? If you have watched my favorite fantasy books of the year, some of them are going to be here too, but I also have a lot of them that aren't. So before the battle, let's do a quick 4 honorable mentions of books that didn't make it to the top 8, but they were still really good. Let's start with my favorite mystery this year. I haven't read a lot of mysteries, but this year I read The Girl Who Played with Fire, which is the second book in the Millenium trilogy. The first book is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. It's about Lisbeth, and you know her from the first book, and in the first book she's going to help this journalist to try to solve some mystery, and in this second book there is also going to be a mystery, but it's going to be more about Lisbeth's past, because this girl has gone through so much. She's neurodivergent, she's a genius, and she's the kind of main character that is super interesting and always surprises you. My favorite thing about this trilogy is the fact that it feels so real. If someone will tell me right now this is based on real facts, I will have believed them. It just shows that the author was a journalist, because everything is so detailed. In fact, the only problem I had with the book is the fact that sometimes it's so much information that my brain just collapses and I have to stop reading for a moment and then go back, because it's very dense, but it still is the kind of book you need to keep reading. You need to know what's going to happen, and it just feels so real. Then I have 3 romances. I'm really sad about this year's romance. Most of the books I read, over 100 books, have been romance, and I enjoyed a lot of them, don't get me wrong, but almost no one of them made me feel like it was the best thing ever, you know, like solid 5 stars, I will never forget about you. And it makes me really sad, because I really hate when people are like looking down at romance. I of course don't do that. It's my most read genre. I just wished I had 4 more impactful romances this year, but well, maybe I can try next year again. So the first one is going to be a male-female romance, my favorite male-female romance this year, and it's An Inconvenient by Alice Coldbreath. This is a historical romance. What I really love about this book, besides the banter, which is amazing, is the fact that both characters felt really different, very natural. The hero was a complete gentleman. He was like really proud and really confident in everything except in woman, because he was a virgin. He has swear that he wasn't never going to kiss or do anything with a woman. He will meet Sarina and they will have to meet because of something that happens, and Sarina will make him so mad, but she also will make you want to break all the bonds he made, and it was just delightful to read. And then I have 2 gay romances. The first one is Goodbye Paradise by Sarina Bowen. It's between Caleb and Josh, and they are best friends, and Caleb is very well loved in the compound and everyone thinks he's going to be one of the next big bosses, whereas Josh is bullied by almost everyone. Something happens and Josh is put on the streets with almost no money, no clothes besides the one he's wearing. He has nowhere to go, he's completely homeless. Thankfully, his best friend Caleb is going to run away and is going to try to save him, and they two are going to be able to figure out how they're going to be able to live, how they are going to work. I thought it was the perfect amount of sadness and happiness, and it made me feel a lot. The last one is the one I wished I could fit on the top 8, but I couldn't, and it's Valor and Doyle Investigators. There are 3 books and 1 novella so far, but it's not complete. This was the first time I was as excited about the mystery as I was about the romance. I usually don't really care about the mystery in romance mysteries because I feel like it's very difficult to find an author who knows how to do both, but Nicky James nailed it. I was so looking forward to know who was the murderer. They start as enemies to lovers because they work on rival departments. Quite Valor is from missing persons, whereas Aslan Doyle is from homicides. But they will have to work together in a couple of cases. 4th book is going to come out in January. I am so hyped. Honorable mentions aside, I have my mock here ready with the 8 top favorite books of the year, and I'm going to choose 2 of them. They are going to compete, and the one who wins is going to get to the semi-final, and then they are going to compete, and the ones who win are going to go to the final. You'll see, it's very easy. I did that with my favorite male-female romance. Also, I thought these battles are really fun, even though I suffer. One paper. Burton series. Greenbone Saga. I chose the last book on the trilogy because I don't have the first one, neither of them. But I'll be quick about the fantasy books because I done a video talking about them. But this one is a fantasy urban mixed with gangster movies, mixed with mafia. And it's about 2 families. You're following the Cole family and the Mountain Clan are their rivals. The characters were so complex and so grey, and I loved so many of them. It was a bit too political for me at times because I'm more into the action part. It has amazing writings on Goodreads because, I mean, the execution of the book was mind-blowing. I still don't know how Fonda Lee managed to do such a great ending. But yeah, we have this really exciting fantasy with Burton series. I never know how to talk about this book because it's very character driven, but it means the world for me. I just wanted to highlight absolutely everything. I usually only read fantasy and romance, but this contemporary was so good. It's about a town called Burton, and they have a hockey team, but everything about the hockey team is more of a way to show how human works. And it's a very bittersweet book because it has a lot of good scenes, happy scenes, but also a lot of sad scenes. And there is a lot of things that are really fair and others that are really unfair. And you are reading it and it just feels like you are reading about real human beings. And I know I keep telling you that they're real human beings, but my favorite books always have really good characters because for me the most important thing about the book is connecting with the characters and caring about them. And in this book I had so many favorite characters. In the first book is going to be about Maya, who is a girl who gets raped and is going to have a lot of consequences on the town because she's raped by one of the hockey players. And hockey in this small town is everything they have, is everything they are proud of. I just feel if you want to read something that it's going to move you, it's going to make you feel so much, and it doesn't have a lot of action, it's just following these people's lives. It's going to talk about a lot of problems in society, and I just loved how Frederick Backman both portrayed the characters and also how he was able to talk about something and then connect it with another thing. All the sentences he used have a reason to be in the book. I just think it was brilliant. I'm never going to make it justice. So, even though I really like Greenbone Saga, this is an easy one because I think this book is absolute perfection, whereas this one, even though I think the execution was absolutely amazing, I don't think it was exactly my cup of tea. Like, I will have liked it a bit less politics. And now, The Banished Lands by John Gwynne. Aristotle and Dante discovers the secrets of the universe. It's really hard because there are completely different books. Aristotle and Dante is a young adult book, is super well known. You probably have read it. I'm really late to the hype, but I absolutely adore it. This is the kind of books you enjoy every single sentence. And if people tell you why you love it so much, it's because I just felt connected with it. I just loved the writing, loved the characters, never wanted to end, and at the same time, I never wanted to stop reading. I think I've read it until 4 a.m. If any of you haven't read this one, it's between Aristotle and Dante, and there are two friends. Well, they met in this book and become friends, and I just love their dialogues. They feel so interesting without feeling unnatural, and I also really like the relationship with the parents. I feel this is the kind of a young adult book that you may enjoy when you are a young adult, but when you are an adult, you are able to see a lot more things. And I just thought it was brilliant. The only thing I'm sad about is the fact that I stayed until so late reading this book that I feel a lot of things are really blurred in my memory, because it was like 4 or 5 a.m. So of course my brain was collapsing. I just really need to sleep. So I'm really looking forward to read it. Still, I love it. The Banished Land is actually 2 series by John Gwynne. The first one is The Faithful and the Fallen. There are 4 books. This is the first one. And then I also read the first book in the sequel. This is a very epic fantasy. It has all the old fantasy elements. It doesn't really have anything new or unique, but it does have all the thrilling. You are reading the action scenes and it just feels like you are there watching it. You are following a lot of main characters, and I really like this because even though it was kind of hard to remember, it also makes you, once you remember, care about a lot more people. Also, I really love it being able to see them meet each other at the end. In books 3 and 4, they are going to, the good ones of course, they are going to get all of them together to go against the evil forces. So it was so good seeing all these characters you are in love, and you feel like they could be really good friends, and seeing them meet and seeing them admire each other, it was great. I was so excited reading this book. And to be honest, I don't know why I did this to myself. I don't think you can really choose between 2 books like these ones, because we are talking about 5 books here. They are huge. There are a lot of emotions. Whereas this book, I read it and I thought it was perfect, but at the same time, it's really short. I don't have so many emotions because I was dead while I was reading it because I was so freaking tired. I don't think I can be fair choosing one of the other, because I don't think this one is perfect, but I have a bigger memory of it. Why this is so difficult? The other one was so easy. I think if I reread this, I'm going to love this one more. But as it is right now, I have more emotions about the Banished Land. So I'm not sure which one should I choose. I think I'm going to hate myself for this when I reread this. But as it is right now, I think I'm going to choose John Gwynne. I don't think it can go harder than this. I was so sure Aristotle and Dante was going to reach the finals or the semi-finals. Damn it. I'm super nervous. The first one was so easy and the second one was so hard. Okay, 1, 2, yeah. Jackdaw and Criminal Intentions 29. Because it's episode 29. I read the episode 28 and 29 this year. At least both of them are gay romance. Jackdaw is the reason why Valor and Doyle couldn't be here, because I read it like 2 weeks ago and listened to it and I absolutely adore it. It's the sequel of the trilogy on the Magpie lore universe by K.J. Charles. It's a historical romance with paranormal. In that trilogy, something happened and Jack was one of the bad ones. I think it's the kind of book you can read as a standalone, but if you read the original trilogy, you're going to understand better everything. But still, you have a thief who is running away, and you have his ex-boyfriend who was sent into prison for helping him, well, for being with him, because they were a gay couple and that was forbidden in England at that point. He went to prison, he loves his job, his house, everything. So now he wants revenge. He just wants to catch Jack, make him pay for destroying his life, make him pay for stealing his heart and they breaking it in 1,000 pieces. What I really love about this book was the fact that there were so many feelings. They love each other, but there were a lot of lies that destroyed the relationship. Benedict felt completely betrayed because he didn't even know that his boyfriend knew how to do magic. Jack is someone who doesn't have any kind of morals. He just does whatever feels better for him, whereas Benedict is the complete opposite. He's all about law, all about following the rules. It was like Romeo and Juliet, this kind of forbidden romance for so many reasons, and also Jack has to run away because the heroes on the original trilogy that you know that they are really powerful are not going to stop until they catch Jack. So it's like so many things in one book and so many feelings, and I thought the romance was beautiful and everything was amazingly executed. And then Criminal Intentions, episode 29. This is a 5-star for me. This was the only gay romance, the only romance I gave 5 stars this year. But it's not because the book itself is mind-blowing, it's because it's my favorite series. I will tattoo Song Ye and Malcolm, the names of the heroes, on my arm. They own my heart. I love them with everything I have. I cannot tell you exactly what happens in this episode because it would be like a huge spoiler for everything else. But basically this series, you are following a couple who are detectives, and at first they don't really get along because Song Ye is like really cold and Malcolm is a typical sunshine character. But you are going to have a really slow burn on season 1. Each season are 13 episodes. So we are right now at season 3. I'm obsessed, okay? I feel like, again, this is very unfair because if we are talking about the book, Jack Dong is probably better. But if we are talking about enjoyment, I wouldn't be able to choose because I mean, it's an episode of my favorite series. I think I'm going to go with my heart here and I'm going to choose Criminal Intentions. Is Song Ye and Mal? I love them with all my heart. I think every single book we have about them is the best gift in the world for me, and I will continue reading their books, every single one of them, until we have no more because I just want to live where they live. Oh, okay, there are only 2 left. Book of the Ancestor and the Scum villain self-saving system. Okay, I have both of them here. I like when they make me choose between 2 fantasies. I'll be quick because I talk about both of them on my favorite fantasy video. This is a parody of the fantasy genre. It's ridiculous. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's about a reader who transmigrates to his favorite novel where he has to solve all the plot holes. He has to make the novel better, but without meaning to. The main character, instead of hating him and wanting to kill him in the end, is going to fall in love with him. And it was hilarious. It was the best premise I've read this entire year. I loved it. I have to admit that I wasn't in love with the third book. I really want to love it and I really enjoyed the series, but my favorite book was this one. I was never completely in love with the romance. Especially reading book 3 was such a roller coaster of emotion. I finished the book and I had to rave about it with a friend, telling her I hated it and I loved it and I thought everything was a complete mess, but at the same time it was the most beautiful mess I've ever read, and it was just, I don't know, it was chaotic and I love it. And then I have the Book of the Ancestor, a very slow-paced, character-driven book, but the more you read, the more action you're going to get and the higher the stakes are going to get. And it starts with Nona going to a convent because she was going to be handed for murder but a nun saved her and bring her to this convent when they are teaching girls like her. Some of them are going to become killers or poisoners or spies. Kind of stories where you are following characters growing from one class to another class. And that was like the first book and the first half of the second book, and then it just gets more into the action. There is going to be a big war, and I just feel this book had everything I like, and also an amazing writing style, and I really like. I really enjoyed reading both, but as I said before, I did have some problems with this one, so I'm going with Book of the Ancestor this time. I still can't believe I didn't choose Aristotle's. It was a hard one to choose. Wow. Ooh. Okay. The Banished Lands. Book of the Ancestor. I knew this was going to happen, and I've been trying to think all week, like, Laura, are you able to choose between Book of the Ancestor and the Banished Land? You can't do a battle. You can't do it because you cannot choose between these two. I love more characters here than in this one, but it's because there are more characters here than in this one. And I also feel like I have more memories towards this one, but it's because there are a lot more pages. You cannot imagine how excited I was reading this book. Like, I think since I read Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson, I was never this excited reading action scenes in a fantasy book. I wasn't as excited reading the scenes here, but I don't know why. I think it's more my style. There was nothing I wanted to change in this series. As much as it hurts, I think I prefer this one because it's more my cup of tea. It surprised me more, and I was completely in love with the main character and the writing. Book of the Ancestor, my beautiful Nona Grey. And the other two, Criminal Intentions, Chapter 29 and Beartown series. The truth here is I'm going to choose between Criminal Intentions as a series or between this book I read this year. If I'm thinking about this year, Criminal Intentions for me was the highlight of last year. Last year for me was all about Haikyuu and Criminal Intentions. I was obsessed with both. When I think about Criminal Intentions, like the impact it had on me, I feel about last year. I don't feel this year it had so much impact because there were only 2 books. My love for Criminal Intentions was already there. It was not something new. So I think for this top 8 of 2022, Beartown series was the real thing. And the final, of course, is going to be between Red Sister and Beartown series. I'm just trying to think how can I compare the two of them, because fantasy for me is something that makes me super excited, but I mean, it's Beartown series and I love it, every single sentence of it. And I don't think I love it every single sentence of Book of the Ancestor, but Book of the Ancestor for me is every single thing I love put in a single series. Whereas this one was supposed to be a book I wasn't going to be thrilled about because it's a contemporary. And I never read contemporary. And yet I see myself rereading this book every single year I have left of my life. But this one is just me. If you ask me which is my all-time favorite book, my mind, without thinking, my mind is going to go to Beartown series. So, guys, I've read 182 books so far this year, and Beartown series. I hope you enjoyed the battle. I just want to do a keep warning, and is that I have my finals in January. I don't know if I will be able to upload a book every single week. I'll see you in February for sure, so you can make sure to subscribe and like this video. Happy New Year! I'll see you in 2023.